Hello everyone, I am Prepper Princess, the author of Living on Almost Nothing. If you're interested in purchasing my book, I'll go ahead and leave a link down in the description box below. As you all know, I have been living on $1,000 a month or less for the majority of my adult life in a very easy manner. And the book is also available in paperback. And just so you know, all proceeds from the book do go towards charity. I do not keep any of that money, so just keep that in mind. And today we are going to talk about investing. There are a lot of people who are scared of investing. They don't understand investing. They think that when the market is down, that is not a good time to invest. They don't know what investments are. They don't understand what an index fund is, what a market fund is, ETFs. They don't understand their 401k or Roth IRA. So I want to go through that a little bit and hopefully ease some of your fears about investing. So what are the best investments? First comes a matching 401k from your job. That is the best investment because you get the match and you also get the tax benefits where you put the money in tax-free. So if you make $50,000 a year and you put $10,000 a year into your 401k, when you go to do your taxes, it's going to show that you only made $40,000 in that year. And then that $10,000 that you invested is going to grow in those accounts tax-free, and then you pay taxes on them when you take the money out. So that is a really huge thing because when you're putting things into a 401k, like let's say you put in $100, let's just use a nice round number, $100, and then every 10 years it doubles. You've got it in there for 30 years. So that's 10, that's 100, 200, 400, 800. So your $100 turned into 800. And if you had done that after taxes, you would have maybe $70 instead of 100. So your 70 would have been 560 instead of 800. So that is one of the benefits of a 401k. The other benefit is any sort of company match. Some companies will offer a matching benefit to your 401k, which means if you put in $100, they'll put in $25 or whatever the case may be. So you are it's free money. It's free money if you have a match. You should always contribute at least the minimum to get the full possible match. So that you just increase your, what is it? Compounded interest is the eighth wonder of the world. So just keep that in mind. The second best investment is a Roth IRA. A Roth IRA can be maxed depending on your age, but up to age, I believe 55 is $6,000 per year. And that is after tax. But the thing about a Roth, the tax benefits of that is that when you go to take the money out 20, 30, 40 years from now, you are not taxed at all on that Roth. So all of the money that you have accumulated is yours. Boom, you get to keep all of it. Now, when you do a 401k, typically there are limitations on that as well. Sometimes it's up to 50% of your income. And if you're making $40,000 a year and you're living really frugally, you invest $20,000 there and then you have another $6,000 to invest. So you put it into a Roth IRA. So you have maxed everything out. So you would think, no, that is not the case. You can also create your own brokerage account. And there's not really any tax benefits to a brokerage account, but if you have more money to invest, you can absolutely go that route. What did I just say? A brokerage account, you hear of all these places like E-Trade and stuff like that. But the most prestigious ones are pretty much Fidelity and Charles Schwab, as well as Vanguard. Fidelity and Charles Schwab and Vanguard are, to set up an account, it's just like setting up an Amazon account or setting up a Netflix account or a Hulu account. You go to their website, fidelity.com or charleschwab.com or vanguard.com, and you will see a link that says create an account. So what you do is you go in there, you create an account. It's with your email, your social security number, they might ask for your beneficiary information, but it's pretty much just like your address, phone number, stuff like that. and then you link your bank account to that brokerage account. And what they do to link the bank account is they'll deposit 10 cents into your account, and then you verify, and then once it's verified, your account is linked. It is ready to go. So when you have your checking or savings account, every week you can go in there and you're like, okay, I have an extra $12 this week. So transfer that $12 into your brokerage account. Next week you've got an extra 50 bucks. Transfer that 50 bucks into your brokerage account. So this is where the hard part comes, and this is where you choose your investments. And this is where it gets really confusing. So let's start with, for instance, Dave Ramsey recommends investing in index and mutual funds and ETFs that have pretty much no charges. Like, you don't want to be charged a maintenance fee or a monthly fee. You want as little expense as possible when you put your money in. And he recommends growth, excessive growth, international, and income. So I'm gonna try and talk slow here so that I don't confuse anybody. Okay, so let's start with what is an index fund. So when you're driving in your car and you hear the radio and they say the S&P 500 is up 0.5%, but the Dow dropped by 200 points. The NASDAQ 500 is at 3,000, whatever it is. So the NASDAQ, that's an index fund. The S&P 500, that's an index fund. The Russell 2000, that's an index fund. So for instance, the Russell 2000 takes the top 2,000 companies. That's your Facebook, Tesla, Google, Alphabet Inc., stuff, Coca-Cola, Home Depot, Lowe's, Target, Walmart. Your top several thousand companies, and that makes up the index. When you go to S&P 500, there's your number right there, 500. So it's the top 500 companies that make up the entire stock market. There you go again. Facebook, I don't know, Twitter, Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, stuff like that. So that is what an index is. So you can't invest directly into the index. So each of these companies, Fidelity, Schwab, stuff like that, they create index funds that follow those markets. So if you want something like, you want to follow the S&P, which historically over time has made 10% a year. It's got its ups and downs, but has made historically 10% per year since its inception. So if you are confused, just follow the S&P. Follow the S&P 500. Even Warren Buffett made a bet that the S&P 500 would beat out any individual investments that his comrades made. Comrades? Co-workers? No. Whoever would make. And he won that bet. So the S&P beat them out over a 10-year period. So the S&P 500 for, I believe, Fidelity is FZROX. And for Charles Schwab, it is either SWPPX or SNXFX. Those are called ticker symbols. The ticker symbol name is pretty much an abbreviation of the index or the company that you want to invest in. So for instance, Coca-Cola, their ticker symbol is KO. I'm trying to think of another one. Target, their ticker symbol is TGT. And if you are confused or you sort of have like a paralysis of investment, then investing in individual stocks, individual companies is probably not going to be right for you. You're probably going to want to do an ETF or an index fund that has, you know, the S&P 500. So there's 500 companies in there. So if one drops to number 501, they'll bring in a new one. And it's a lot less volatile, but over time it goes up by about 10%. So you just want to follow the S&P. So if you are scared of investing, just follow the S&P, pick one little index fund in your brokerage account, and then just when you have money, put it in there. Just don't buy any other individual stocks. Don't go into ETFs or REITs or anything like that. Just one and done, and you're going to be okay. If you are really, really paralyzed by investing, I would highly recommend a financial advisor. While I I manage about 75% of my investments. I still have a financial advisor that he takes over about 25% of my investments. And this is for long term, and his account, the money that I send to his account every month, that goes to charity when I die. The funds that I manage personally are going to go to my nieces and nephews when I die. So it's very simple. When I die, my family sends him a death certificate. He sends it to the Animal Rescue Foundation, one and done. But I am not against financial advisors. They do charge a percentage every year. They charge anywhere from 1% to 4%. Now, my personal financial advisor, this is not a plug and he's not affiliated with me, is Joseph Laswell with Way Financial. He explains everything like a teacher. I actually found him on the Dave Ramsey website. He explains everything like a teacher, really nice man, great conservative values. The more money you make, the more money he makes. He's a fiduciary, which is really important. Now, a fiduciary is somebody who has your best interest at heart. If you go to like Wells Fargo and you ask for a financial advisor, you're probably not going to get a fiduciary. And what they do is they read off of a menu of things to invest. They ask you a bunch of questions, figure out what's right for you, and then once they sell that investment to you, they make a commission and they never talk to you again because there's no incentive for them to continue to talk to you. When you get a fiduciary, they make money every year off of you, and the more money you make, the more money they make, and then they might want to change your investments up based on your personal preferences, and they will call you and they will talk to you. It's not just a one and done if you have a fiduciary financial advisor. So I highly recommend one of those if you are afraid to do the investing yourself. So when it comes to ETFs, electronic transferred funds, works a lot like an index fund. It just has some different taxes associated with it. So when you get, we'll get into that later. So if you are investing in an index fund and you're one and done, but maybe you want to branch out a little bit. Maybe instead of focusing on slow and steady growth, you want to focus on some sort of dividend income. A dividend is when you purchase a stock and every quarter or every year, they pay you a percentage just for owning the stock. Now, I personally spent my 20s and 30s focusing on slow and steady growth in my stocks. I'm not looking for the Teslas, the Bitcoins, the really, really fast growth where there's a whole lot of volatility. For me, slow and steady wins the race. Although I do have a BLSH fund, buy low, sell high, but that is something for another video. So if you want to invest in ETFs, maybe increase your dividend, your passive income, that is something that you can look into, and it is pretty much the same as an index fund except for the difference in taxes and the way that the purchase works. So when you're doing an index fund like I was talking about, SWPPX or SNXFX or FZROX, things like that follow the S&P 500. When you make that purchase, you can do it in fractional shares, which means, let's say the share costs $75 and you only have $20. Well, you can buy $20 worth of that stock even though it's not a full share. So you can buy whatever dollar amount, you can do it as little as $1. You can make that transaction and you have 1/75 of a stock. When it comes to the ETFs, you have to have the full amount. So if there is an ETF that you're looking into, maybe it's SCHD or SPYD, those are high dividend yield ETFs, you would have to have the full amount. So if it costs $143, you have to have $143 to make that transaction. And then each of those funds, you want to make sure that you see when the dividend payments are. And you can also automatically set them up, which also you can do for index funds, so that they reinvest those dividends. Even though individual stocks typically have a higher dividend, index funds and ETFs also have the capability of having dividends each quarter or year. So that money will automatically bounce into your cash account if you don't have it set up to reinvest. What that means is that you have to go in and manually reinvest it yourself. Now, whether you set it on reinvestments or not, you still have to pay taxes on the monetary gains of dividends. It is income. That is what it is. So there is that. Give me a second. Let me see what the next subject is. Okay, so we went over index funds and ETFs. Then you've got individual stocks. Now this is where the internet typically goes into a frenzy when we're in a bull market. There are bull markets and there are bear markets. Bull markets are when the market is going up, and bear markets are when the market is going down. Whenever we are in a bull market, you see a ton of frenzies on the internet talking about how they put $1,000 in this stock and now they have $50,000. We all saw that with Bitcoin, and Bitcoin has pretty much crashed. I never invested in Bitcoin, nor did I invest in any of those big ones like Tesla. But and hindsight is always 20/20. Just like when you turn 70, you look back and you're like, I wish I invested more. Well, as an investor, when you're investing in slow and steady wins the race, you look back and you're like, man, I wish I would have invested in Bitcoin when it was $1,600 and then it went up to $65,000 and I sold then. But, you know, it's probably not going to work out that way. So just keep that in mind. When it comes to individual stocks, there are blue chip stocks, which are stocks that are very well-known stocks. They've been in business for a really long time, and the stock market doesn't really see them as going under. These are places like Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Lowe's. You know, they're mostly like retail companies that have just been around for a really long time. Smuckers, which is like grape jelly and stuff like that. Heinz ketchup. Heinz would be Nestle, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, stuff like that. Those are like the solid ones that are looking at a slow growth with a kind of slow dividend. They're not going to be like this. They're just going to be slow and steady wins the race. But if you're scared of investing, I don't recommend investing in individual stocks. Me personally, I have made a lot of mistakes, but I've also had a lot of triumphs with individual stocks. But I mostly focus right now, because I'm now in my 40s, on my dividends, because I would like to retire eventually. Not at age 65, I want to retire way younger than that. So I focus on my dividends for passive income. I'm trying to think of what else there is to go over. Oh, so you've got the bear market, the bull market and the bear market. So a lot of people, what happens, and this happens every time. I mean, I've seen this since 2001. Every time the market is up, people start throwing their money in, and then as soon as it goes down, people start pulling their money out. Well, those are the people that are doing things backwards. You want to put your money in when the stock market is down, and you want to take it out when the stock market is up. I know, it goes against if you are emotional with money, it goes against every emotional thought process you have with money. You think when the market starts going down, people start talking about the stock market's going to crash like the Great Depression. It's going to be worse than the Great Depression. We're all going to go bankrupt and things are horrible. Inflation is high. You make more money investing in CDs than you do in the stock market. You're going to lose 30%, 40%. Well, the thing is that every time the stock market goes down, that's what people start saying. They start saying it in the media, the news, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, you name it. That is the way they have always said it. And then once the market goes up, they're talking about Bitcoin and Tesla and these amazing stocks. So it's very fickle what happens when people start talking about investing. For me personally, I have invested the same dollar amount for the last 3 years, but it has always been, the more my income goes up, the more I invest, and it is the same amount, whether the stock is up, whether the stock is down, it does not matter to me. The same amount of money is going to go in. Well, what if you lose it all? Well, at least I tried. You know what I mean? I mean, If I have to go to Plan B and live only on Social Security, that's Plan B. And then there's also those people that say Social Security is going to go away. Well, after talking to a lot of people, I still believe that Social Security will not be there when it's time for me to retire. And if it is there, it's only going to be 50 to 75% of the monthly payment in terms of inflation of what it is now. So I have to rely on myself. I have to rely on my investments. And I have to be able to support myself. I don't have children. I don't want to burden any of my family with having to take care of me. I will pay somebody to wipe my butt and do my grocery shopping and cooking before I ever ask my family to come and do something like that. That's just me. That is the way that my personality works. And it's very important for me to be able to be self-sustainable, to take care of myself. But not everybody is like that. Maybe you're going to have to rely on your family. Maybe you're going to have to rely on food banks because you didn't do the investment in your youth. The younger you start, the less difficult it is, because the older you get, the more you have to play catch up and the more money you have to put into the stock market. But start young, please. Start young, and it's just going to be an easy ride through your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and maybe even your 60s, depending on how long you want to work. Compounding interest is the eighth wonder of the world, and it is so much easier if you start young, and so much less stressful, because once you reach your 40s and 50s, you don't have to put in $400 or $500 a month. You can still put in $100. I put in a lot more than $500, but you know, I'm blessed enough to have a really decent income with all of my entrepreneurial adventures and my real estate investments. So I'm very fortunate in that way. I hope that this has cleared up some of the questions that you may have, and I hope that you are not afraid to invest. I continue to invest even when the stock market is 10% down, 20, 30, 40. If it goes down to 90% down, I'm still going to invest the same exact amount. Do what you can with what you've got. Prepper Princess out. Nala. Oh, hi. Hi there. Did you get your brother? Ah! That tickled. Oh, get your brother. Oh. Go get him. Go get him. Go get him. No, go get him. Go get him. Go get him.